What's going on, guys? I'm back with another one, and I just watched a movie called Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, starring Paul Rudd, Jonathan Majors, and Michelle Pfeiffer. She's still looking good. She's still stunning. Okay. First of all, let's talk about the uncanny career that is Paul Rudd. All right. He's been in the game for years. All right. He is one of the best comedic actors out there. Underrated, might I add. All right. Since Clueless and other movies, since the 90s. Okay. And I remember in 2004, and before this, with the other movies, but this is when he had a major main role for me. Kind of. Anchorman came out. All right. Of course, now Will Ferrell was the main star. No duh. He was killing it. It was his heyday. It was Will Ferrell's heyday back then. All right. But at the same time, Paul Rudd was one of his buddies in the film. And he had an hilarious line. One line, not one line, but he had one line that was strong for him. And it was about a bull's appendage. I cannot mention what was going on with that. But something smelled like that. Something smelled like that. Somebody's cologne smelled like a bull's appendage. Okay. And the way he delivered that line was hilarious. Absolutely had me on the ground laughing. And for that, I commend him. He stood out from there on as, yes, this guy needs to be in more comedies. What is he doing? In 2005, 40-Year-Old Virgin came out. Now, this is a classic within its own. We all know about this. This came out, and it really changed the game for comedy. For the period, the time period that these movies were making it and were able to come out without being canceled. Okay, he was a part of this, and he played the guy who couldn't get over his ex-girlfriend. Okay, he just couldn't get over his ex. And the way he did it, he embodied that role. He made it look like, hey man, Paul Rudd, I don't know who he's dating right now, but hey, if y'all break up, this might happen. This might happen. This is what he's gonna do. He was convincing. All right. Then in 2009, I Love You Man came out. This was a buddy comedy with Paul Rudd and Jason Segel. You know, Paul Rudd's character didn't have any friends, just him and his girlfriend. You know, he was the girlfriend man. Everything his girlfriend did, he was down with it. That's his buddy, which is nothing wrong with that. But you know, it's nothing wrong with having some friends on the side too. So and that's when Jason Segel came in and he changed his whole world, because this is a random dude. He didn't even know who this was. And honestly, Paul Rudd really didn't want friends like that, but he felt he needed some and he got one. And it resulted in some hilarious scenes. Okay. And in 2011, Our Idiot Brother came. All right, this movie is exactly about what it's saying. It's about an idiot brother. All right, Paul Rudd plays the dumb brother to like 3 or 4 sisters. Okay, all played by well-known actresses within their own realm. Okay, this movie didn't get a lot of credit as it should have. It was a very good movie. It also had Kay Sterling in it, and this is a time when nobody knew who he even was. It's my first time seeing this guy. This movie had it. All right. Along with us having a great storyline to it as well. So you got to check this movie out. Check it out. Because in 2012, Wanderlust came out. Now, I really loved this movie. It was a combination of Jennifer Aniston and Paul Rudd that did it for me. They played the perfect couple trying to get out of their rinky-dink lives and do something exciting for a change. So they go on this trip to this little resort that they call the Wanderlust, and it's very free, and everybody over there is sexually free and hippie. Oh, they're a bunch of hippies. Okay, they're a bunch of crazy hippies, and as reserved as Paul Rudd's character and Jennifer Aniston are, they get turned out. All right, I'm just gonna be honest with you. They get completely turned out, and it shakes their whole world upside down. That's a very underrated movie as well. He's in a lot of underrated films. Okay, lots of them, and that's just one of them. And within that same year, This Is 40 came out, which I am now feeling, like realistically feeling this, because I am 40 years old. So this movie resonates to me strong right now. Okay, it's telling the truth of what happens once you hit that 40. Once you hit 40, this is what's going on. Okay, which I honestly believe that Paul Rudd was not that young when he did the movie, but hey, he played it off. He played it off. Okay, and you know, he's a spinoff character from Knocked Up, which is another movie, and he's showing his side life and what's going on in his life. All right, as of now, and his kids and the real kids of the woman that plays in the movie. It's a lot of just great callbacks to being this age, being over the hill, and what all comes with it, and the fact that you're not going to be 20 forever. You're not going to be in your 20s forever. You're not going to be in your 30s forever. And this illustrates that very well. Okay. Then in 2015, Ant-Man came out. This was the groundbreaker for Paul Rudd's career right here. Okay, this was like so out of the norm for any role he's ever played. Okay, but the way that he did it, and the first movie was directed by Edgar Wright, which was fantastic. Okay, and so the way that movie was done, it fit his humor, and it worked out. It worked out in the end. It all worked out in the end, because that movie is highly entertaining. Part one is very good for what it does. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. And then later on down the line, 2018, Ant-Man and the Wasp came out. Not as great as part one, but still, you know, Paul Rudd did his thing. Paul Rudd made it as good as he can make it on his own. Okay. Well, he wasn't on his own. No disrespect to the co-star. Okay. But at the same time, just not as good as part one. Let's be honest. And now we have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And my question is, will this be the Ant-Man movie that actually means something, that actually has a point to it that we can all get behind? We're about to find out. Let's go. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. For those who don't know, for those who are not aware, man, if you don't know about this movie by now, not only do you need to be beat up, hit us or hit across the head a couple of times, you also must be lost in the quantum realm. All right, you're in the quantum realm right now, 1,000 times smaller than you usually are, and you're just out of touch with reality. Obviously, don't play me, man. Don't play me. You can't be this under a rock and not know about this. Please, we're not going there. We're not doing that. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Pretty much like I'm always going to say, leading off of part two. Well, sort of. Kind of leading off of just the events that just have currently happened in Marvel. All right, let's put it like that. Okay. Ant-Man's getting back to his regular life of, being this Avenger, and he doesn't know how to handle it. And he's walking around, and he's, everybody's greeting him. They're treating him semi-different. He realizes that the whole time a lot of people were thinking he was Spider-Man, which is hilarious, okay? But at the same time, there's a little something going on with the old Ant-Man, Hank Pym, and his wife, right? They're at the lab. They're playing around. They have Paul Rudd's daughter over there helping them out, checking something out. They all chipped in to check out this situation with the quantum realm, which Michelle Pfeiffer has just came back from. And, they didn't tell Ant-Man, which I had an issue with. That was kind of shady. But at the same time, the daughter has just announced to them, or, the whole room, that I have opened up the quantum realm again. I have found a way to get the quantum realm to open back up for everyone. And this look on Michelle Pfeiffer's face is just some shock. It's not a good thing either. It's not a good thing. And she tells her to immediately shut this down. Shut this down. Please shut this down immediately. But of course, before anything can be saved, everybody gets sucked right back into the quantum realm. All right. And then lastly to go is Ant-Man. And now they're in this quantum realm with new features and things that Hank Pym has never seen before. He had no idea was down there. And this whole other life that Michelle Pfeiffer's character had when she was down there, all right, for 30 years. And that's the premise of the movie. Honestly, that's the premise of the movie. Positives. The visuals in this movie were absolutely stunning. It was out of this, of course, it was out of this world because it's not from this world. All right. It was of another dimension, the quantum realm. Just the way everything looked, it gave me that Star Wars feel. Not even they had creatures, the settings, the sand. It was Star Wars for me. Star Wars mixed with Dune because of the sand setting, the sand area just looks just like Dune. All right, and the way they were dressed and the uniforms and the outfits and the aliens and different creatures and just the community down there. It's something that you would never think that was down there this whole time in the quantum realm. Of course, something had to be living down there, of course, but you'd never think there was an entire world down here just waiting to be discovered. And of course, Michelle Pfeiffer's character kept her mouth shut the whole time. We're going to get into that a little later on, though. I have an issue with that. We're going to get to that a little later on. My next positive is the father and daughter connection. All right, this movie, it doesn't introduce the daughter because the daughter was introduced in Endgame or one of those movies. But what this movie does is it shows you, or it gives you more of an insight into how the daughter is. How similar Cassandra Lang is to Scott Lang. Okay, they are very similar to each other, highly similar. It's so similar that the first time you see her in this movie, she's in jail. He has to go bail her out of jail. All right, and it immediately hit my brain like, oh my God, she's just like her dad. She's just like her father. But as you'll find out later on, smarter. Okay, so not only has she have a criminal mindset of some sort, she's smarter than Scott Lang. And I'm not trying to put Scott Lang down here. I'm just being honest. She's going to be smarter than him. All right. They have this bond. They have this awkward sense of humor also. Scott Lang's a little better at it, but I'm sure as the whole storyline continues, they'll get more into her character, and you'll get to see more of her humor and how more of her father she is. Okay, so I like that. I like that. Third positive. There's a scene in this movie where, of course, we already know because we're getting into multiverses and stuff like this, there will be some things that are introduced as, different parts, different Ant-Mans, okay? Different Scott Langs in different universes. And there's a scene in here where they all do this 100-man pile up so Scott Lang can get to the top of something. I'm not going to say. And it was just incredible. It was crazy it was so crazy at the same time. Just insane how it looked, and the CGI, and how you couldn't even tell it was CGI, which it's CGI. And to see him climbing up these billions of other Scott Langs, the metaphors within the metaphors. This is an ant pal, Ant-Man. Did nobody get that? Did nobody see that? For the people who are bagging this movie, people who are talking bad about this movie, did you not see that metaphor? That's crazy. That was crazy. I love that scene. All right. Last positive. Kang has proven further that he is a force to be reckoned with. All right. Kang first starred in the Loki show, right? Season 1. He was at the end. He was the guy that was talking crazy talk, insanity. All right. And he played a good Kang in that too. But in this one, he's slightly different because it's not the same person. But at the same time, just the way that Jonathan Major plays this character, he is so intimidating. He's incredibly intimidating, a scary person, not to be trusted. I don't see how half the cast trusted any word he said. I don't see how Michelle Pfeiffer's character, there's a whole thing with that. He's something else. He is something else in this movie. Just a sinister person. All right. Just the way that he had a way with words, and once he got to convincing you what he wanted you to do, he had you. And then when he got you, he could easily just break you within 1 second. All right. That was the level that Kang was on in this movie. He had done so much destruction, so much bad things. All right. Negatives. It almost leaned towards comedy a little too much. All right. I had that issue with part 2, and 1, they didn't do a bad job of that. But part 2, it just, the comedy didn't measure up with the seriousness of the movie. So that kind of killed it for part 2 of me. And in this one, it seemed like it was going that same route again with the cheesy little music in the background and all that. It felt like it was going there, but it didn't. It didn't. But it almost came to that point. And I was getting restless, but thank goodness it didn't open that door. All right, because that would have ruined us so much. I wanted to at least take something serious in an MCU for a change. I'm sorry. I was getting sick and tired of the blunders before this, and all the cheesiness and the corniness that came before this, and it felt like it was going on that road and that route. And I'm like, oh, please don't do this to me. I beggeth you, do not just be all laughs and no substance. But it did disappoint on that part. Trust me. Just it felt like it was almost going there. Second negative. Why didn't Michelle Pfeiffer's character, the name will be at the bottom of the screen, why didn't her character explain what happened in the quantum realm a long ass time ago? All right, you could have been told them about what was going on. You could have warned your people around you. something, but you didn't. And this happened. This whole thing could have been avoided if she just opened her mouth and said something. Disappointing. But at the same time, I guess there would be no movie. Last negative. Something about MODOK, and yes, MODOK is in this movie, it's just not right. I don't like the way they did his character. The whole backstory to him is different. It's stupid. All right, please, something must be done. If, not done sooner. That was horrible. And I don't know a whole lot about MODOK. I read the comics, but MODOK's character, already. But to do this, wrong. But you know what? I'm still giving this a hell yeah. It's a hell yes. This is the best MCU movie for this stage. It's already phase 5. It's just phase 5 now, what I'm being told. But this is one of the best ones yet. In a long time. Okay? Press that like button, share, subscribe.